Instructional technology, I know we already touched on that a little bit with the upgrades and touch screens and, virtual reality and so forth. Is there anything else you want to add to that? I mean, we kind of touched on.
Well, really, it's really the one thing. Again, we pride ourselves on hiring incredible instructors,
Right.
and we have instructional paraprofessionals that aid, and that help the kids that need it. But in order for us to continue to be on the cutting edge of technology, I'm thankful that we moved to one-to-one. During COVID was a necessity, and we're going to keep
Sure.
that. But simply putting a device in front of kids, it doesn't make it better.
No.
It's different perhaps, but we've got to be able to have the professional development to leverage that as
Right.
positively as possible, while also engaging kids, obviously, in more interactive technology.
Sure.
We've got support programs on Chromebooks right now, where there's an engagement, where you're hitting something, more video game-like, if you will.
Yeah.
And the technology is incredible that's out there. And so
Right.
I think, again, we'll keep on coming back to virtual reality augmentation or interactive, technology on whiteboards. It's what our kids deserve. It's what a lot of districts have infused their buildings with, and it will help us maintain as effective a learning environment as we need.
Whether we like it or not, that's going to be our kids' reality as they grow up, because technology is there. It's only going to get. It's going to be used more and more,
Without a doubt.
no matter what.
Yeah,
So,
those technological skills, and many people have said, and it resonates with me every day that we're educating kids and helping them learn for careers that that don't even exist yet.
Exactly.
And so
Yeah.
their use of technology and interactive technology and that immersion certainly is going to help them in every aspect of their life as they
Absolutely.
Go forward.
Another aspect of this is the elementary school playgrounds, the enhancements, safety and security, but the asphalt, the paving. I mean, I know the last time I went to Seymour, the the asphalt had a lot to be desired
Yeah.
in the playground area.
Yeah, and those have not been touched in a while. And again, I think as we've prioritized the learning environment inside the classroom and prioritized some of the supports our kids need with the limited financial resources we have, our playgrounds have taken a hit. And certainly they haven't been resurfaced in quite a while or really ever.
Right.
Not that anybody can remember. Anyway,
Right.
So there's a fair amount of coal patch. There's a lot of sealant,
Right.
to keep cracks from forming. But it has reached essentially end of life, and so we're going to have to strip it down and redo the asphalt, whether that's the basketball courts, the huge play areas outside, so that we can improve drainage, improve safety for kids. And so when they're playing on it, there aren't tripping hazards, or the ball actually rolls straight.
It doesn't go downhill.
No, and I'd urge anybody to take a look at our playgrounds. They are. If we want what's best for kids, there needs to be an infusion. And again, asphalt is not cheap, and so a large portion of what's allocated, based on how bids come in, is that on that asphalt. And we may be able to include basketball hoops, or we might be able to include
that was my next question.
other secondary pieces of equipment. We could.
Yeah.
But it just depends on on how expensive that asphalt is.
Right. Again, we have allocated $2.5 to $3.5 million
Yep.
for elementary playground enhancements. So potentially we could have more basketball hoops and play
Monkey bars
places and monkey bars and so forth.
Yeah.
As long as the
Slides,
asphalt's not too expensive.
Right, exactly. And again, we've been careful not to overpromise. I don't know where those prices are going to come in. It has to fit, in the puzzle.
Yeah.
And our playgrounds, in regards to equipment, is in relatively good shape. You could always do more.
Sure.
It could always be enhanced and upgraded, but the priority for that is on the asphalt and all of the flat, activity spaces for kids out back.
Right. And next up, performing arts, the auditorium space. I know what that opened in 2001.
Yep.
And hasn't really had, not that I've seen any big upgrades since then.
No, it
so
hasn't.
I know it's due for upgrades. What are we talking about there?
Outside of major roofing projects on top of it, try to keep the water out, which we've been battling the last few years in our auditorium, but I think we finally have addressed. It hasn't really had any enhancement. So like it is I've said all along, it's an incredible place to watch a spelling bee or a choir
Right.
performance or band performance or strings.
It's
or
24 years
drama,
old.
But it's 24 years old. And so from the carpet wear pattern to the sound system, to the lighting,
Sure.
to the stage, and we cover up those warts, if you will, on the stage, or with
Right.
black paint,
Yeah.
or the curtain, or anything else. We do our best,
Right.
outward facing, to make sure it's exactly what it needs to be. But certainly, we want our kids on a refinished stage,
Yeah.
without pits and cracks and paint over as it comes up. With new curtain, new carpet, crystal clear sound, and great enhanced lighting. I mean, we've moved the district to LED lighting over the last 6 years, and basically one of the few places that hasn't had a lighting upgrade is that auditorium.
Okay.
So it's we want it to be great for our community and our kids. The community uses it a lot,
Right.
almost every week. For the next 25 years as
Yeah.
well, and this can help us do that.
That's allotted 1.25 to about $2 million. And then, okay, so let's go back to the HVAC upgrades to the elementary schools, to the high school. We were allotted X amount of dollars in 2017 to do some of the upgrades. Some people have been critical, saying, why didn't we do them all then?
Sure.
What do you say?
Sure, and we were able to do every learning space with that bond, and certainly
So the
that's how it was
classrooms.
presented. So
Yeah.
over 230 classrooms,
Okay.
throughout the district. And so when kids are in the classroom, they have climate control, they have air conditioning. It is a comfortable learning environment.
Right.
But that is all that bond took care of. It did not take care of cafeterias. Or gyms, and so you're looking at gym space at the high school, old gym space.
Yep.
You're looking at cafeteria at the high school.
Okay.
You're looking at a cafeteria / gymnasium in our 4 elementary schools.
Sure.
That need air conditioning. So when kids are eating lunch and they're in there for an hour and a half, eating lunch, staggered lunches,
Right.
and or when they're in there for PE class, it is warm. It's warm in the first 6 weeks of school. It's warm in the last 6 weeks of school. And so and we believe we want to make it as comfortable as possible for kids to work
Absolutely.
out, for participate in PE. We don't want to send them back to math sweating after they eat lunch or anything else. And so that was not part of that project, but we think it's a significant part of this one.
And that's an additional $2.5 to $3.5 million,
Depending on the pricing.
depending on